So we're getting ready for tomorrow's boil. We went down and collected our sap from this week. We actually couldn't get all of it. I didn't have enough buckets. We've got 35 gallons here at the house, which we'll start with tomorrow. I've probably got another 10 gallons still in the field, so we'll have to collect that tomorrow. Hopefully we can get it all boiled in one day. I am making another modification to our barrel stove evaporator here. Last time I made an air diffuser that went underneath the fire, but that sat all the way at the bottom. I'm going to raise that up so it's closer to the grates, and hopefully that'll give more air to the actual fire, and maybe we can get a little bit hotter. We were at about 3 1/4 to maybe 3.3 gallons per hour that we could boil down last week. I'm hoping to get that closer to 4 gallons. So I bought some additional fittings for this. I have these Street 90s or Street L's. I'm going to put one of these from inside the stove into that bottom plug that's built into the stove. That'll give me a vertical element. I've got a second one here that I will screw into that one to give me a horizontal element, and then my air diffuser is going to come out of this. One thing I did find out, and it's kind of a fun fact, is I bought these EMT conduit nuts. This is a 3/4 inch one because this is 3/4 inch pipe thread, and they fit on this pipe thread great. Now you would never use that for doing pipe thread, because pipe thread you want to seal. But in this application, because I'm not looking for a tight seal, but I need the orientation to stay correct, I can use these as a lock nut on these fittings. So hopefully it's going to work, and let's get putting it together. I'm going to use this straight coupler here to lock this in place. That will lock that fitting vertical. I have one more L fitting that'll go in here. And then this is the pipe that goes to my blower. And that's ready to go. Got my second L fitting. Just about get a turn on it, but I'm going to screw this lock nut down. Give it a little tweak with some pliers. I've got my diffuser pipe, which has a series of holes drilled into it. I'm going to screw that into that L. It should put me just under the fire grates. And I've got another lock nut on this end to lock it in the correct orientation. Place our fire bricks. And my grate. Sit right there just above our diffuser bar. So I've got all my fire bricks in. I'll show you what it looks like. From here, I did place, and I'll show you underneath the back, I put 2 fire bricks under that back end of the diffuser bar just to give that some support, so it's just not dangling out there, because I think the heat would tend to want to have that drop down. So we've got some support underneath it, and I think we're ready to go for the morning. So we got up about 5 a.m. this morning to start our boil. I got the fire started. We were boiling by about 6 a.m., which was pretty good. Took us maybe about 45 minutes to get the boil started. It's now about 7:45, I believe. We're still at our 3.3 gallons per hour, which we're at last week. So that hasn't changed. Still need to keep that door cracked open a bit. I'm going to try an experiment though after we get this bucket in. I'm going to close that door for an hour, see what changes. I do have a noticeable decrease in the vigorousness of the boil, but we're just going to see. We'll do it for 1 hour. We got 45 gallons to do today, so we don't want to waste too much time. So I think we're going to be going until 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. Fire's going good. Like I said, I don't see any difference with our diffuser lifted up like we have this week versus where it was right down at the bottom with the fire bricks. So fire's going fine, but I just think that with our setup the way it is, 3.3 gallons is about the best we can get. So we just finished our next 5-gallon bucket. That one took us an hour and 15 minutes, which puts us just about 4 gallons per hour, which is the highest boil rate that I've gotten. So this new diffuser bar seems to be working better in that higher position than the one did when it was in the lower position, so that's a good sign. And I'm not really sure we can get much more efficiency than that out of this barrel stove anyways. We only have about 3 square feet of surface area that's over the fire. And from what my research shows, 1 to 1.5 gallons per square foot on this type of stove is about the maximum you're going to get. That puts us between 3 and 4.5 gallons per hour. So I think that's going to be about the max we're going to get. So we're doing good. The next thing we're going to try is this next bucket that's going in. I'm going to leave the door closed. We're just going to see how that affects our boil rate. We've noticed temperatures in the stove seem to be higher with the door closed, but the fire and the boil doesn't seem to be as vigorous, so that really doesn't make a lot of sense to us, but we're going to give it a try and see what happens. Okay, so that bucket took me an hour and 35 minutes to get through with the door closed, so that puts us at like 3.16 gallons per hour, so that's our lowest rate yet. So we're going to open that door back up, keep it open a crack the way it was before, and see if we can boost that back up to close to 4 gallons per hour that we had with the door open on our previous bucket. The door is back open, and almost immediately that boil is nice and vigorous now. Okay, we are 6 buckets in now, so I've got a 7th one warming up next to the stove. I'm going to go down to the property and get the last of the sap off the property. It should be about another 10 gallons, so that'll be 2 more buckets. But we're back up at 3.75 gallons per hour, so I just think I'm going to have to accept it. I have to leave that door cracked open to get our best boil rate. Well, we collected the rest of the sap from our property down the street. We got another 8 gallons, so I'm going to call this about a 43-gallon total boil. So we're expecting about 1.5 gallons of syrup out of this. Boil's going great. Still have that door open to crack. Like I said, I'm just going to have to kind of accept that. But we're just shy of that 4 gallons per hour of evaporation. So I'm pretty happy with that. So just about finished with this last of the original bucket, so we have 2 more buckets to go, or roughly 8 gallons to go after that. I'm going to call it 9 gallons total right now. Then we got to boil all of this that's remaining in the pans, which is about 10 gallons, get that down to about 2 gallons or so, start monitoring the temperature, and once that gets to our final temperature, we'll bring it inside and we will filter it through the vacuum filter. We are still experimenting with the vacuum filter because we've been using these new round filters with it. I think today I'm going to try 4 of the regular filters and 2 of the pre-filters, because my suspicion is I'll have to remove a pre-filter somewhere during the filtering process, because this is going to be a lot of syrup. So we'll see how that goes. We've been getting a little bit of niter still in our final product, so I think we used 2 regular filters last time, so we're going to bump that up to 4. When we filtered it using a cut open regular cone filter, our sap was nice, or our syrup was nice and clear. So I think it's just a matter of getting to the right thickness of filter material. So we're going to try again. We're going to try, like I said, 4 of the, sorry for that, 4 of the regular filters and 2 of the pre-filters. So as far as wood goes, we've been going through about 1 milk crate of wood per hour. There's our milk crate right there. Yeah, like I said, that lasts us an hour, so not too bad. Long boil, it's a lot of milk crates, but I think we've been doing pretty well. We seem to go through the same amount whether we had the door open or closed, and obviously with this door cracked open slightly, we're getting a higher boil rate per hour, so it's a little bit more efficient use of our wood with that door cracked open. So I think we can definitely say that our modification to our air diffuser has helped us. Raising that diffuser up off the bottom of the stove has made it a little bit more efficient. We're still getting a really nice bed of coals underneath the grate there, but it's keeping those coals nice and red hot, but up at a lot higher level. So yeah, definitely think our improvement works. I think we're probably about at our max efficiency we can get. So the next step is going to be some type of sap pre-warmer. We might try to cobble something quickly together for our next boil, because I think we're going to get 1 more boil this season. So it's been about 9.5 hours to get our 43 gallons of sap completely into our pan. So we're left with about 10 gallons now. I'm estimating we've averaged about 3.5 gallons per hour that we've been able to evaporate. It's a little bit slower in the beginning. It took us a while to get everything heated up on the stove, and then we were experimenting with the door open, door closed. But right now it looks like we average about 3.5 gallons to get that basically 33 gallons completely evaporated, and we're left with 10 gallons out of our 43 total. I'm expecting probably it take us about another 2 hours, and we should be at the point where we can bring this in and filter it and get it into our jars. Well, it's been a long day. Actually, to get this ready to run through our vacuum filter took a little bit longer than expected. We actually had to bring it inside to finish it just for a little bit on the stove because it was getting misty, rainy out. I didn't want to put more wood into the barrel stove. It's supposed to rain tonight. So we brought it inside. We got it all the way up to temperature. Now we're letting it cool a little bit. You can see, looks like we got quite a bit. But we're going to let that cool to about 190, 200, and then I'm going to run it through our vacuum filter, and we'll put it in our jars, see how much we have. But I think we're going to have close to 2 quarts, or close to 2 gallons rather. So using those 2 elbows on the air diffuser bar worked very well. It allowed us to put that diffuser bar about 3 inches closer to the base of the fire. It kept it out of the coals for a majority of the boil. Eventually it did get covered, but it still did allow air to flow and did keep that fire hot. So I think that was an improvement over the previous version that we did with it strictly down at the base of the barrel stove. So I think that's how we're going to use the stove from here on. I think we've got about as much of the efficiency as we can out of that barrel stove evaporator. So we had a long day yesterday. I think we finally finished up about 8 p.m. so that was a lot longer than we thought. We had to move everything inside. We had rain coming in, so we had to get it done in the house, and then we had to empty out the barrel stove of all the ashes and everything so we can get all the hot fire bricks out of it, so we could get that under cover because we didn't want that sitting out in the rain overnight. But we were able to get all that done, and we had a pretty good amount of syrup. It was about the same as the prior week. We ended up, I think, 9.5 pints, so a little bit over a gallon. But we had about 25% more sap, and I think what that's telling us is that the sugar content of the sap has dropped. We probably peaked last week, and that is normal. As the season goes on, that sugar content will go down. So we have passed our peak sugar content, and I think it's just going to go down from here. We're hoping to have 1 more boil next week. I don't think it'll be quite as much sap as we had this time. Actually, I'm hoping it's not quite as much, so but we'll get that finished up. That'll be a last boil. I am going to try to make up a little preheater for our sap going in there, something simple just to get in place next week to test out. So hopefully we'll have a video on that. But yeah, it's been a great maple syruping season for us so far. We appreciate you coming and spending some time with us. If you have some questions or comments, please put them in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. We certainly would appreciate it. And as always, until next time, here on Sunny Side Up Farm, we wish all your days are sunny side up.